Today is Monday, February the 18th, 2019. Hello, and welcome to Weekly Astrology Notes for the week of February 19th through the 25th, 2019. Weekly summary. So we're starting this week with the full moon in Virgo in the morning of the 19th. And we're also going to be having Mercury sextile Saturn in the evening. On Wednesday, the 20th, Moon in Virgo is very active with lots of aspects, and then we've got a void of course from early in the evening until the next morning. On the 22nd and the 23rd, we're going to be having a couple of big days. We start in the morning of the 22nd with Mercury square Jupiter around noon, and then Venus conjunct Pluto on Friday evening. That should make things kind of exciting. And then Mercury sextile Pluto early Saturday morning. So that's three aspects within less than a day. And then we've got the moon trine sun in the late afternoon. Okay, so let's get started this week with Tuesday the 19th with the moon trine Uranus in the morning, which is actually going to be a little bit before the full moon. So looking at the morning, and we've got this wonderful trine from Leo to Aries and fire signs. It gives us lots of creative inspiration. And Uranus makes us ambitious and desire to do something different. We're motivated and we want to move on to better circumstances. Something for self-improvement. It makes for an active and spontaneous morning. Benefits come from engaging in mentally stimulating activities. Find something interesting to do. Yes, you need to take advantage of those Uranus moments when you make a lot of progress. And then we've got a short void of course until the moon enters Virgo, also in the morning on Tuesday. So we're more skillful for the next couple of days, better at analytical tasks, keeping appointments, mundane tasks, more fastidious and discriminating, and display good judgment. And it's the time each month when we attend to our health regime. So whenever the moon enters Virgo or your sixth house, that's a time when you want to catch up on all your health concerns, and wherever that is in your chart. And then in the morning, just before 8 a.m., we're going to have the full moon. And that'll be at 0 degrees Virgo. So just as it enters Virgo, we get the full moon. So emotional energy reaches a high point as we seek fulfillment for events that started 2 weeks ago at the new moon. We're very sensitive, vulnerable as subconscious energies rise to the surface. It's Virgo to Pisces. So you're able to keep your feet on solid ground, that earth sign Virgo, and yet transcend the mundane. And that's that non-material element of Pisces. It gives us lots of healing energy, and you really want to use your innate healing abilities in a skillful way, in a Virgonian way. And this way you do it to your advantage and not get lost in the clouds. And as long as you keep to that skillful Virgo energy, you get a lot of benefits from it. So seek pragmatic means to help others, while still feeling connected to the collective or divine source. Avoid overextending yourself or absorbing the energy of others, or making too many corrections or overanalyzing the situation. We're open to psychic impressions, but it's not a good time to make long-term decisions. Maybe a time of reckoning with issues from the past left unresolved, that's Pisces. Feeling compassionate as well, desire to be helpful, that's Virgo, yet working hard to fill in the missing pieces. That very expansive energy. We really want to bring something more into ourselves. We feel like something's missing. So we're a little bit restless and in need of reassurance. It's time to comfort others, and really not a time to assert yourself in these particular signs. Alright, so moving into around midday, we've got the moon trine Mars. Lots of physical energy. Time of good physical health and emotional fortitude. Taurus to Virgo, earth signs. It's skillful use, Virgo, of your Taurus, personal resources. Yes, very good. Opportunities for material gain. Able to make the necessary adjustments and take the initiative. Able to lead others as well. Willing to work with others, but able to work alone if necessary. And in the evening, we're having the wonderful Mercury sextile Saturn. Yes, mentally disciplined, have good judgment, concerned with the mundane aspects of life, paying more attention to the details, looking for ways to make practical improvements in your everyday life, immersing yourself completely in a subject to glean all that is of value therein. That's the Pisces quality. Mercury in Pisces is doing that, and this sextile to Saturn is really going to bring that out in a very pragmatic, methodical, and focused way. Able to focus on your duty and responsibility, and you'll complete any task you start. It's a good time for reading important material and going over the details of finances and other important matters. You've got good communication skills. We're reserved, and because that's with Saturn, but the Neptune, or Pisces energy, makes us kind of very considerate and careful. It's a very good aspect for writing. Really excellent. Especially in these signs, Pisces will really open you up and it will reflect the qualities of your soul. It's also a good time for speaking on important topics concerning everyone, able to convince others of the efficacy of your ideas. Convince others. Very good teaching skills. Traditional, reserved, but attentive and thorough. In these signs, we have a desire to help others, especially those who deserve it. Because that's that fourth quadrant, the quadrant of self-transcendence. So we're not really thinking so much about ourselves. We have more of a overall wide-ranging perspective in terms of where we fit in with the rest of the world, and we really are willing to help others because we feel a sense of connectedness that Pisces needs to feel connected to the collective. Oh, and I should have called this out. This is going to be 16 degrees of Pisces to 16 degrees of Capricorn. So we may feel a little bit melancholy. Again, that's Pisces, like something needs to be given up in order to get your affairs in order, some sort of sacrifice in some way or another. Restless Mercury in Pisces needs a productive outlet, and I think this really does the trick. It's a good time to attend to important business matters. So that should make for a pretty exciting Tuesday. Getting lots of things done and very mentally disciplined. And then moving on to Wednesday, we start in the morning with the Moon opposition Neptune. It's going to feel a little bit like the full moon because we got the Virgo to Pisces going. Feeling restless, need to find something helpful to do. In this case, it's really easy to kind of get lost because your emotions dissolve into the collective. We're really looking for those missing pieces in our lives, things that we've lost, desire to escape. We're more sensitive and we're really psychic now, although rather passive. You need to keep moving and be productive. Thinking is kind of unclear, not a good time to make decisions. Of course, avoid intoxicants, but lots of healing energy with all this Neptune. So opportunities may come to share that with others. As well, it's a good time to meditate and work on your connection to spirit. Also in the morning on Wednesday, we've got the Moon trine Saturn, so that is another one where Saturn has us focusing on mundane tasks, duty and responsibility, lots of self-discipline. We're methodical, practical, and down to earth. And it's that Virgo, skillful use of your energy. In this case, it leads to gains in reputation and career opportunities. So people will be kind of ambitious in that way. And late in the evening on Wednesday, we've got the Moon opposition Mercury. Another Moon opposition on Wednesday. Could bring a lot of emotional confrontation. Things you have to deal with. In this case, the emotions flow unabated into our communications with others. Lots of retail transactions with the Mercury energy. So in our interactions, we're looking for reassurances, helpfulness from the Moon and nurturing. Maybe a friend or advisor who can help us through feelings of doubt, a shoulder to lean on. Maybe called upon to help others. It's really not a good time for social interactions. Feeling a little bit lost, more in need of sanctuary now. especially late in the evening. And I just noticed that we had the moon conjunct Mercury at 11:11 p.m. on 2/4, the same day as the new moon. So I think that's kind of interesting, the way the 11:11 is coming out there with the moon and Mercury. Okay, just an interesting synchronicity. Sometimes I find those. And we've got a moon trine Venus happening in the early afternoon on Wednesday. So that should be a good time, brings pleasant disposition, warm and friendly. Good time for socializing and having social interactions with others. Maybe a nice lunch on Wednesday with friends or business associates. It would be really good with the trines to Venus, because Venus is not just our relationships, but one-to-one interactions. And it's really good for business meetings and so forth. So this might be a good aspect for a business lunch. And with the moon square Jupiter, you're going to be having an abundance of emotional energy later in the afternoon. The mood is generally good. Folks are warm and generous, and desire to help others. I think it would also be a good time to discuss business with this previous aspect adding to it. Although we are a bit over-exuberant, self-righteous, sometimes we come off with virtue signaling on these squares to Jupiter. And with Virgo, the Sagittarius, sometimes we're tempted to make too many corrections. And we've got poor financial judgment. And then later in the afternoon, actually early evening, we've got the moon trine Pluto. The benefits come from participating in the community. Pluto is the collective, and we really need to feel emotionally bonded and connected to the community during these times at the trines and the sextiles. So that's why we want to participate with others and just merge our efforts with others. We're also working hard to get ahead with this Virgo to Capricorn trine and helping others along the way. We feel more capable, cohesive, integrated internally, and able to rise above insecurities. You need to merge your energy with others, feel a strong connection, and hence commitment to society. Excellent time for business. There will be opportunities for material gain, lots of energy and stamina, able to get a lot of work done, make improvements in the home. The earth signs will be really grounded, feel a profound connection to Mother Earth at these times. And then we've got a void of course that will be starting in the early evening and continuing until Thursday morning when the moon enters Libra. So we're more focused on relationships and one-to-one exchanges with people over the next couple of days. Emotional benefits come from positive interactions during this time. We really need to have those pleasant interactions with others during the moon in Libra. It's really how we find our equilibrium. And it's very important for our psychological health. We're more interested in beauty and art, the kind of things you do on a date. It's generally a good placement for social activities, parties, etc., as folks are more congenial and desire to be with others. To have a couple over the next couple of days. We start in the morning, mid-morning, with the moon square Saturn. During this time, emotions contract and we're not as responsive. We're more aware of our limitations, and insecurities may seem worse than they really are. Tendency to lean on others for security, but benefits come from not depending on others for your emotional security. Kind of as simple as that one. But we're having a couple of really great aspects on Friday. The first one is around midday. It's going to give us a real positive feeling. And that's the Mercury square Jupiter. And it'll be 21 degrees of Pisces to 21 degrees of Sagittarius. Happening right around midday, so it'll be in effect pretty much the entire day during the sunlight hours. So lots of mental activity, communications, writing, short trips around town, lots of quick exchanges with others. It's a good time for business. You can see the big picture. It's time for long-range planning. Unlike the Mercury sextile Saturn earlier in the week, we're not really interested in the details. This one has us a bit mentally undisciplined, which can lead to making mental errors, so you may need to slow down. But it's a very positive aspect. We feel very inspired and optimistic, but with a tendency to talk too much, or as I like to say, think with your mouth open. In some cases, we're very blunt and kind of loud, say outrageous things just to get a charge out of others. But overall, this very positive aspect just gives us a really optimistic frame of mind. In these signs, Sagittarius to Pisces, Sagittarius expands and Pisces has no boundaries. So we can get a little bit carried away with ourselves, delve into a topic to the point where we're completely immersed in it and get kind of overwhelmed and very idealistic. Really no boundaries of reality on our thinking with this one. So in some ways you say, well, okay, well, you're very unrealistic, but it's also really good because all of that very positive, overabundance, exuberant thinking is what helps us overcome mental limitations and think beyond our current mental boundaries, which is something we always need to do. So that's a really great aspect for that. Again, it's always a good time for meditation. When you get such inspirational kind of aspects, you may feel just kind of spontaneously doing that kind of thing. It's hard to stay focused on any one thing for a long period of time. The mind gets kind of scattered with Mercury and Pisces, and then the square to Jupiter. We just feel like we have license to think about anything, or let our mind move from one topic to the next and not at all be mentally disciplined, and just feel really good along the way and be very inspiring in that way, very idealistic. We're also rather philosophical and more interested in the spiritual aspect of things. It should make for some really lively conversations and kind of an exciting and rather positive day on Friday, although I should say we probably will not be interested in working too much. Definitely not a responsibility kind of an aspect. You probably want to take the day off. Okay, so I expanded on that one a bit much. So I think it's a really great aspect, and we should get a lot out of it. And especially with this moon sextile Jupiter happening a little afterwards. Now this aspect brings a pleasant mood and disposition. We're really open-minded, and it's a very good time for relationships. Folks are helpful and encouraging, and it's a very good time for business, anything having to do with business, meetings and negotiations, purchases, whatever it is. It's just a really great aspect for that. And then in the early evening, we're going to be having two aspects kind of back to back. We're not really going to be feeling the moon square Venus very much, because shortly after we're going to be getting the moon square Pluto. So we're very sensitive, easily hurt, and kind of apprehensive, reserved, intense, and social interactions are challenging. It makes you really focused on an issue, and we get sometimes kind of obsessed, and things come up from deep inside of ourselves, things that we weren't aware of consciously, but that's what forces you to deal with your emotions honestly. You're able to isolate yourself and analyze an issue and make those internal corrections. And you want to avoid emotional entanglements during this time, especially with all of this Pluto energy running around, especially with this Venus conjunct Pluto coming up, which will be at 22 degrees of Capricorn. So this one's going to make us reserved, intense, and focused. Actually, it can bring about a lot of different behaviors with this one. But generally speaking, the energy of Capricorn mixed with the Pluto energy is going to make us more intense and focused and reserved. But some people, it may come out in rather the opposite way. But generally, we're not superficial, although it is hard to display affection and just be in an easygoing way with others. We're not interested in anything superficial, and we seek deep, meaningful encounters only. Relationships get a bit intense. People are into power games. And Pluto, it brings things up from the deep, things like secrets, things we prefer to keep hidden. Well, just think about it. Venus is our desire nature, and Pluto is things in the dark. So we feel secret intentions equals desire for money, maybe, for sex or control. So there's lots of subtle persuasion and sexual energy and more undercurrents of energy between people during this time. And you may experience a crisis of personal values. Ask yourself deep, probing questions about your true value as a human being, because after all, Venus is our values, and it naturally opposes Pluto and Scorpio. So you may feel the need to prove something to yourself or to others, concerned that you are someone who is real in life, tangible, not superficial, someone who has something truly of value to others, and it needs to be more than just material value or sex, something to reflect your true personal values. So an aspect like this, you may need to face your deepest fears and insecurities. But the general sense you get during this time can be very positive. Actually, you might be feeling very powerful. If you don't mind that feeling. Some people do, but a lot of us really like that feeling. And when you get it, it's really good. You feel kind of audacious, resourceful, and daring. You may feel very confident and focused. You just don't want to suppress the energy or use it in any sort of dark ways or for bad motivation. You want to find a positive outlet. And as with all Pluto aspects, you just need to keep moving and not get obsessed negatively on any one issue. You can get positively focused on an issue, just not the negative obsession. And on a positive note, you really can looking to renew or overhaul some element of your life right now. So you want to see what house in your chart this is happening in. You may want to make a significant change. You may want to turn over a new leaf, begin again. That can be a very productive time when you're capable of working with great stamina and focus to change some element of yourself. Great powers of healing and regeneration because you know what's going on deep inside of yourself. You're resourceful and you can act with passion and conviction and able to turn a negative into a positive. And that's the best part of Pluto. And in this case, with Venus, something to beautify yourself. Maybe a change of diet or a new health regime. Something to clean up your act in some way. Repair or renovate your personal space, home, or possessions. Venus is harmonious and talented, and you may decide to develop an innate talent and put it to good use, like learn to play a musical instrument, something like that, something to really regenerate that Venus quality within you, something to bring more refinement and art and beauty into your life, your home, and your personal space. And of course, there's always those negative sides of Pluto to consider. I really get into these Pluto aspects. I think they're a lot of fun. I hope you all don't mind. But it does bring up subconscious energies, control energies. You get paranoid, resentful, and sometimes feeling abandoned. What I was talking about before about having to face your insecurities. You want to avoid emotional entanglements. We feel a really powerful attraction to members who could be our sexual partners. Your sexual partner, whoever that is for you. Relationships can start on impulse. Although I should say Pluto does not take rejection lightly. And you want to avoid confrontation if you can. And the best bet is to just be honest with others about your intentions and not keeping anything underhanded or keeping secrets that could undermine somebody else and ultimately yourself. And of course, let's not forget the issue of money. The Venus rules Taurus, and that's your money. So it brings a strong desire to acquire wealth. And I think Mars in Taurus kind of adds to that as well and gives a little bit more power to this aspect we're getting. And it gives us a desire to possibly get into get-rich-quick schemes. It may bring a positive opportunity for financial gain, but make sure you read the fine print and be sure intentions are what they seem. Folks are tempted to use underhanded tactics. Or you might just get swept along by the ambitions of somebody else. And they may not think they're being underhanded, it's just the way that they are. Okay? So, just be aware of that. And also, folks are just willing to spend money on risky investments and things like that when Pluto is involved. And this evening in particular, folks, dress for success. Venus in Capricorn already does that, but with the conjunction to Pluto, it's going to be really strong, probably dressing really sexy. Also, we should see a strong desire to spend money as folks want to satiate their desires. Again, Mars in Taurus kind of adds to the festive atmosphere. And I really do think that that is going to affect all the Venus aspects with Mars being in Venus's ruling sign right now. In general, it should make for an exciting Friday night activities, especially when you add that Mercury square Jupiter earlier in the day. So enjoy that. And then moving along to Saturday, the 23rd, we start early in the morning with the moon opposition Uranus. Well, that will get us out of bed early, restless, craving excitement, something new, interested in the unusual. We're kind of defiant and act in ways that are out of the ordinary. This strange behavior sometimes comes out of us. We want to avoid hasty decisions. It's easy to reach the wrong conclusion now, and it's generally not a good time for social interactions. And then we have a short moon void, of course, until the moon enters Scorpio. So we're more intense and passionate about life for the next couple of days, more aware of the inner workings of the mind and the subtle undercurrents between people. It's time for emotional regeneration, develop a new base emotional state. Looking for repair and upkeep around the home. It's important to maintain your integrity and inner resolve as you go through this work. We're more resourceful and driven and prefer to remain dignified while avoiding social complications. We're looking for deep, meaningful encounters. Considered not a good time for surgical operations. And it looks like we're having even more Pluto energy this weekend because pretty early on Saturday morning we're getting Mercury sextile Pluto. So we started the week with Mercury sextile Saturn, and now it's Pluto. And it's going to be 22 degrees of Pisces, 22 degrees of Capricorn. Well, as you can imagine, this one has us mentally focused. We're rather efficient, resourceful, and disciplined. Looking to strategize, prioritize your life in some way. Looking to make some improvements. Able to get to the bottom of any matter you're dealing with and deal with it effectively. Able to completely immerse yourself in a topic like Mercury and Pisces likes to do. In this case, we're really intense about it, and we want to glean everything of value in it. We want to know the inner workings of things, tear it apart, and see how it all functions. More aware of the psychological underpinnings of yourself and others. Able to detect deception and dishonesty that you call out. More aware of the power of your words and of other people's words, how we use them to our advantage. So that's why you may not speak too much. You might be rather reserved and just wait for somebody else. You don't want to give yourself away. But you're able to stand up for your ideas and opinions well to convince others of the efficacy of your ideas. Again, the same kind of thing with the Mercury sextile Saturn. Same quality. Good at public speaking. In this case, you can really sway the masses. In this sign, in Pisces, you're willing to sacrifice your personal opinions for a greater noble cause. So it can really bring out the best in us if we allow it to. Some really good qualities within us can emerge. Pluto allows that to happen. It brings up things from the deep, and sometimes those things are really good. And some good qualities can come out of yourself during this time. We're a lot more compassionate towards others as well. And we're able to consider things that you didn't see before. Maybe correct your thinking. That would be a good manifestation of the sacrifice energy. You sacrifice some inappropriate ideas, things that aren't working. Maybe develop a more positive attitude about life. Basically make a change for the better. Anytime we have a sextile or a trine to Pluto, you always want to think a change for the better. In some cases, it can be a profound change in your life. Address issues that are otherwise impossible to reach. Because Pisces, it's things that have been swept under the rug. So things that you have been hidden for a long time, you can bring them up, and Pluto is going to help you deal with them. And that's kind of a general quality this week, since we're starting with the Mercury sextile Saturn and ending with the Mercury sextile Pluto. So focusing inwards brings great rewards. Introspection brings psychic awakening, even awareness of past lives. Again, it's that fourth quadrant of self-transcendence. You can transcend the limitations of this life and maybe get an inkling of what happened in a past life. And I would say an excellent opportunity for meditation. Benefits come from making some positive change in your life, something to repair and reclaim some aspect of your voice, because that's Mercury, or ability with your hands, which will enable you to speak your own truth with power and conviction, develop your talents, similar to the Venus conjunct Pluto, which also wants us to develop our talents. We're very communal, especially in these signs. Benefits come from participating in the community, doing something to make life better for everyone, speaking with sincerity. We generally retract at this time from anything selfish or underhanded. We're just a lot more transcendental in nature. We're not so concerned about the physical elements of life. For activities, maybe a nice drum circle, a spiritual chant. I know they have that kirtan in yoga. Or singing is really good. As well, Pisces rules the feet. So this is a great aspect for dancing. Wonderful way to manifest this energy. As well, we've got this desire to help the disadvantaged and the forgotten members of society, people who have been swept under the rug. Generally quiet and reserved, considerate of others, who prefer to remain dignified. Good aspect for social activities. Even though we're going to be kind of reserved, it still will very good for communal activities. As well, people are able to put their minds together, merge their minds, Pluto, and do something beneficial as a group. So that's a really great aspect for Saturday morning, the 23rd. Okay, let's move along. We've got a couple of more moon aspects to consider in the afternoon. On Saturday, we've got the moon trine sun. A wonderful aspect, the second trine of the month. I always like to call them out that way. A time of good psychological health and well-being. It's in water signs, so we're able to share water, feelings, and emotions with others. We're able to let go of hurt and pain. That's the Scorpio to Pisces trine. Resolve something and then just kind of let it go into Pisces, let it dissolve. Reckoning with your past is easy now. Very caring and sincere, dedicated to helping others. Able to make a deep, meaningful connection with your partner. Abundant creative energy makes this one of the best times of the month for social interactions and relationships. And then it gets a little bit intense later in the evening with the moon opposition Mars. It's a bit confrontational. Powerful meetings bring greater awareness, though. You just got to be ready for that. Become more aware of how the other person feels and what they really value, because it's that Taurus to Scorpio opposition. So you want to beware of expressing anger or just resentment or just being generally unhappy and hard to please. Because Scorpio can sting back. Actions are strongly influenced by our subconscious emotions, and we tend to be a little bit domineering at this time. So you want to avoid those kind of behavior. As well, avoid making hasty decisions, and it's a time of poor digestion. Okay, moving along to Sunday, the 24th. We've got Moon trine Neptune happening in the late morning. That'll make us kind of dreamy around midday on Sunday. We're very sensitive, psychic, able to sense the feelings of others, and there's lots of water, healing energy, and able to share your feelings with others. It's a good time to cry and release energy, emotional energy. And then we've got the moon sextile Saturn in the mid-afternoon, so that'll keep us attending to duty and responsibility. It's a good aspect for business, for group meetings. We're really solid and resourceful, kind of focused and able to make headway. In these signs especially, we're very productive. As well, another very productive aspect is the moon sextile Pluto, and this will be happening late Sunday evening. So you may be very active on Sunday night. In this case, the feelings go really deep now. We're kind of sensitive and quiet and reserved. Benefits come from participating in the community, and we need to exchange that vital energy between people. And it's a good time for business, and you just want to keep moving. So much of that, we have Scorpio here and Pluto all together. There's so much of that Scorpio energy that you really need to keep moving to express that energy. Otherwise, it gets bottled up inside and it turns to frustration. Okay, moving along to Monday, 25th. We start in the middle of the night with a moon trine Mercury. It's time for communication, able to express emotions, thoughts, and emotions flow smoothly into one another, and it's a good time for business. Maybe not here on the West Coast because it's the middle of the night, but early morning on the East Coast and in other places of the world, it's in the middle of the day. So I like to include those in there, just give them that kind of interpretation. And then we've got a moon sextile Venus. Aspect brings very congenial and diplomatic behavior, very easygoing. Even though with the moon in Scorpio, we really enjoy pleasant conversation with others. We're very sensitive and artistic. It's a good time for interactions and good time for business meetings and negotiations. And then we've got a void of course, which starts on Monday morning and continues until the early afternoon when the moon enters Sagittarius. So we're more forgiving and idealistic the next couple of days. Emotions are geared towards growth and moving on to something new. We're optimistic and more adaptable, able to deal with changing circumstances, more independent, not interested in work, want to move about, meet new people, make new connections, so we're warm and friendly, even to strangers and even to foreigners. I'm more interested in knowledge and philosophy. Okay, so that's it for this week. Just a reminder, the planets are within you. And really, when you take a look at a chart, what do you see? You see a solar system. And all of those planets, well, those are all inside of you. And that's just something to ponder when you consider how all of this affects us. And the synchronicity between the stars and the planets and events in your life. So that's all this week for Weekly Astrology Notes. Once again, thanks for viewing. Please subscribe and please hit the like button. I really appreciate that. And just to let you know, I am a practicing astrologer. And if you're interested in getting a reading from me, please contact me at noblestar7@yahoo.com or through my weblog or my website. I'll leave links in the description. I'm also available for long-distance Reiki healings if you're interested in that. So have a great week, many blessings, and be good to yourself.